Title: At her victory party, celebrating winning our house in the divorce, my ex-wife had me served with a no trespassing order. She laughed, "Enjoy being homeless." I just smiled and made one call. An hour later, the sheriff arrived, and her new boyfriend begged me to stop. I was only getting started. Chapter 1: The Invitation. I wasn't meant to see. I wasn't supposed to be there. The invitation was emailed to our shared inbox by mistake. We were still untangling the last threads of our divorce: joint bills, utilities, tax records. The inbox had become neutral ground, but that subject line cut through like a knife. Victory party, celebrating new beginnings and full ownership. Below was a digital invitation: catered food, champagne, music. Location: my house. Well, hers now, according to the judge. She had fought ruthlessly for it, our 2,800 square foot home in the hills. I'd poured years of sweat equity into it, laid every floorboard with my own hands, planted the garden for our anniversary, rewired the deck lights. But none of that mattered in the courtroom when she cried and claimed emotional attachment. And now, 2 weeks after the decree, she was throwing a party to celebrate and mock me. Worse, she listed herself as host, and next to it, co-host Bradley Mitchell, her business partner, the man she had been cheating with. I stared at the screen for a long time. My hand clenched the mouse tight enough to make it creak. I hadn't told anyone, not even my lawyer, that I'd discovered their affair 3 months before she filed. I let her think I was oblivious, let her talk circles around the judge, let her smirk when she walked out of court thinking she'd won, because I wasn't interested in winning the divorce. I was playing for something far more satisfying. At 5:58 p.m. on the night of the party, I stood across the street from the house I'd built. Laughter echoed from the open patio. String lights blinked around the pergola I installed myself. Music spilled out, jazz, upbeat and mocking. Her voice carried loudest, "To freedom," and to the man who helped me finally move on. They all cheered. That's when a man in a cheap suit walked up behind me and tapped my shoulder. "Mr. Carter?" he asked. "You've just been served." He handed me a folder, a no trespassing order filed hours earlier, filed by her. On the day of her victory, scrawled at the bottom, in her handwriting, "Ensure he doesn't step foot on my property." I looked up toward the patio. She was watching. She raised her glass toward me, smirked and mouthed, "Enjoy being homeless." I smiled, then pulled out my phone. "It's time," I said. "Do it." The man on the other end simply replied, "Understood. ETA. 1 hour." And just like that, the game she thought she'd won was about to start collapsing, piece by piece. As I walked away, leaving the crowd behind me laughing and drinking on a deck they believed was theirs forever, I didn't look back. Not yet. I'd rather see their faces when the sheriff pulled up the driveway. The call I made wasn't to a lawyer, it wasn't to a friend. It was to Eli Navarro, my private investigator and real estate acquisition consultant. See, 3 months before our divorce began, while she was busy texting Bradley behind my back, I was already drawing up papers of my own. Eli had helped me set up a real estate holding company under a completely different name, one untraceable to me directly, but fully owned by a trust I controlled. The house she thought she'd won, the one the court awarded to her based on false financial claims, it was still carrying a mortgage. And I knew something she didn't. She never refinanced it. In her rush to win, she assumed the house was fully paid off. It wasn't. I still owned 62% of it through a silent LLC. That's the percentage the court overlooked, intentionally, because I didn't contest it. I let her have her victory, but I never stopped owning the ground beneath her feet. 6:48 p.m. An hour later, the party was in full swing. She was on her second glass of champagne when Bradley came rushing down the stairs, face pale. "There's a sheriff outside." Laughter around the table paused. "What? A sheriff?" she said, still grinning. "Probably noise complaint." But when the front door opened, 2 uniformed officers stepped inside, followed by a man in a black suit. Eli. "Ma'am," the sheriff said calmly, "we're here on behalf of the property's primary line holder." The holding company is exercising its right to foreclose based on breach of occupancy agreement. Excuse me, she snapped. This is my house. Eli spoke next. Actually, ma'am, it's not. Per your divorce filings, you took possession, but failed to assume the mortgage or pay property taxes for the last 3 months. You also hosted an unauthorized public gathering. These violate the occupancy clause in the lien holder agreement. Your notice of foreclosure was delivered electronically 55 minutes ago. She looked at Bradley. Bradley looked like he'd seen a ghost. Who the hell owns this holding company? She barked. I stepped through the open front door. Calm, silent. Hi, Amanda, I said. Welcome to my housewarming party. Flashback. 3 weeks earlier, while she gloated to her friends about finally getting everything she deserved, I had spent my days with Eli and my lawyer building a silent foreclosure trap. The LLC she'd never heard of? Created the week I moved into the guest house. The final mortgage payment? Deliberately missed, so the house would default on her watch. And the court? They granted her possession, but not ownership. I let her decorate it, throw a party in it, hang her cheap paintings, because I wanted her to feel comfortable. And then, I wanted to take it all back, legally, back in the present. You can't do this, she screamed. You can't throw me out. Amanda, I said, stepping closer, I didn't throw you out. You did that to yourself. You lied in court. You committed occupancy fraud. You ignored paperwork you never even knew existed. I just let the clock tick. Bradley stepped forward. Look, can we talk privately? He muttered. Please, don't do this in front of everyone. Why not? I said, gesturing to the guests. They should see what real justice looks like. The sheriff held up a set of papers. You have 24 hours to vacate the property. Lock change begins tomorrow at noon. Amanda's wine glass slipped from her hand and shattered on the hardwood floor. I stepped over it. I'll be back tomorrow, I said, with movers and a locksmith. Amanda dropped into the chair where she'd toasted her freedom just an hour earlier. Her guests began quietly slipping out the back. And Bradley? He turned to her and said the one thing she wasn't expecting to hear. I told you not to mess with him. The next morning, I arrived at 9 a.m. sharp, not with movers, not with a locksmith, but with coffee and a camera crew. I wanted everything documented. For court, sure, but also for my own peace. I'd spent the last 3 years being painted as the angry husband, the bitter ex, the emotionally unstable one. Let the world now see what calculated patience looks like. 9:07 a.m. She opened the door in a bathrobe mascara smudged, hair in tangles. The queen from the night before now looked like a dethroned reality star. Why are you here so early? She asked, voice rasped. I thought I'd be polite and give you a head start, I said, holding up the eviction notice from the sheriff. Bradley left last night, she snapped. You got what you wanted. Just give me a few more days, I leaned against the doorframe. A few more days? After the no trespassing order? After you told me to enjoy being homeless? Her face flushed. That was just a party. I know, I cut in. You know what's funny, Amanda? You really should have checked the other deed. She blinked. What deed? Flashback. 1 year ago when Amanda started staying out late, blaming depositions and girls' weekends, I didn't argue. I bought a second house, smaller, quieter, but paid for in full, under my business name. While she was planning her exit, I was planning my fallback. I moved furniture in, set up utilities, even had a full guest suite installed. I never intended to live there. I intended it to be hers, but not in the way she imagined. Back to the present. The house 2 blocks down, I said casually. The one you've been sneaking into with Bradley every Thursday night. She froze. How do you know? Because I wired it. Inside and out, I pulled out a flash drive and handed it to her. This has all your visits, Amanda. The wine, the hot tub, the bedroom cameras. She dropped it like it burned her fingers. That's illegal. No, I said calmly. It's legal. It's my house. I gave consent to surveillance. The footage was never shared. Yet Amanda's knees buckled. She sat on the floor. "What do you want?" she whispered. "Nothing. I already have everything I want." I handed her one last envelope. "Inside is a legal document voiding your spousal support agreement. You sign it, I erase the footage, and I don't sue you for perjury, adultery, and defamation." She opened the envelope, read the first line, then looked up at me like she didn't even recognize who I was anymore. "You're a monster," I smiled. "No, Amanda. I'm the man you built when you tried to destroy the one you married." I walked away as she stared at the flash drive like it might detonate. The cameras, the footage, the silence. I gave her a way out, but not a way back. And I still wasn't done. The day Amanda signed the spousal support waiver was the day her foundation started to crack. But it wasn't the end. It was the middle act. Because you don't throw a victory party on my grave without making sure I'm buried first. Step 1. The email. That afternoon, I sent a single email. Subject line: regarding Thursday night footage, potential violation of firm ethics code. Recipient: Bradley Mitchell's managing partner at the law firm. Attached were 6 stills from the footage, none scandalous by law, but each one ethically loaded. Him drinking wine in what appeared to be a client's house. Him shirtless in a hot tub with Amanda. Him using his work laptop on a personal getaway. The email was anonymous, but the effect? Immediate. Step 2. The chain reaction. By 10 a.m. the next day, Bradley was put on administrative leave pending investigation. HR quietly began interviewing junior associates. Amanda received a polite but icy email from the firm's board asking her to confirm if she was ever compensated by the firm, and if so, why. She wasn't an employee, she wasn't a contractor, but she'd been spotted in company events, listed in trip itineraries, and her lavish Instagram stories didn't help. She tried to delete them, but not before I'd archived them all. Step 3. The auction. I took things public, but not how you'd expect. I listed the house she fought so hard to keep, the one she won in the divorce. But I didn't just sell it. I held a private auction. The bidders? 2 of our mutual friends. One of them? Her ex-best friend, a realtor Amanda once mocked for never being able to afford a house like mine. She bought it, paid in full. Amanda called me the next day, furious. "You said you were walking away. Why would you do this?" "Because I never wanted the house. I just wanted you to know how it feels to lose something in front of people who know your pride better than your pain. You're heartless." "No," I said calmly. "I'm focused." Then came the final twist. I wasn't done. Because Amanda forgot one critical detail during our divorce. The investment account I opened for our daughter. The one with both our names on it. The one she never bothered to touch, assuming I'd never notice. Turns out, she borrowed against it, used it to help fund her new life before the divorce settled. That, my friends, is fraud. As my attorney drafted the motion for civil fraud, I looked out the window of my quiet rental and smiled. Because Amanda wasn't just about to lose her house, she was about to lose her future. Amanda's smile had vanished. Bradley's legal career? Over. The ethics committee moved quickly after I sent over the account statements that proved she'd been funneling vacation charges through his firm card, masked as networking events. His license was indefinitely suspended. His name scrubbed from the firm's website. His future, with Amanda, dead on arrival. But the financial fallout was even sweeter. When my legal team presented the fraudulent withdrawal from my daughter's trust, the judge didn't even blink. "You stole from your own child," he told Amanda, "and you thought you were celebrating a victory?" She was ordered to repay the full amount, with interest, legal fees, and a permanent mark on her credit. Her inheritance from the house? Gone. The car she bought in her name? Seized. The freedom she celebrated now came with a bill. But I wasn't vindictive. I didn't try to bankrupt her. I just wanted her to know what it felt like to wake up thinking you'd won and then realize you had no idea what game you were really playing. The final scene. 1 month later, Amanda stood in front of her old house, the one she once claimed as her trophy. But now, it belonged to someone else. She saw me pulling up in a quiet, modest car, same as always. She crossed the street, her eyes softer now. You destroyed me." "No," I replied calmly. "You destroyed yourself." I just turned the lights on. "You still love me?" she whispered, almost unsure. I didn't answer, just handed her an envelope. No revenge this time. Inside was a check, enough to help her start over if she was smart. "This isn't about you anymore," I said. "It's about my daughter. She still deserves a mother who can stand on her own 2 feet." Amanda broke down, not from pain, but from the realization that kindness can hurt more than revenge. Final reflection. I walked away that day, not victorious, not bitter, just free. Revenge wasn't about winning. It was about restoring peace in my mind, in my soul, and in my daughter's life. And peace is worth more than any house, any title, any cruel celebration. Was this revenge perfectly justified? Or should the storm have raged harder? Drop your verdict below. I read every single one. Hit like if you crave justice, and share this story with someone who needs its fire. Subscribe to Lauren's story, because here, betrayals don't sleep. They hunt their owners. Every shadow hides a reckoning. Every mask breaks, and every betrayal is answered. Stay sharp. Stay unbroken. Stay tuned.